Okay, so we look at Steep at 21.9 and specifically my thoughts on the game. At its core, this game is a gem. A sports game we really needed and one that has hooked me big time. But that said, I'm certainly not without reservations. It has fantastic components, but falls down in some areas that it shouldn't really ever have done. Anyway, before I go on, if you want to see my 21.9 technical breakdown of the game, then check out my video on that, linked in the description, or just head over to my channel, it'll be there. So if you're unaware, Steep is a sports-focused game set in the beautiful Alps. You can snowboard, ski, paraglide, and wingsuit throughout the world, and it is a very large open world to explore. At face value, you can be excused for thinking there was little to do, but Ubisoft has really outdone themselves. Everywhere you go, you'll find beautifully crafted jumps, gaps to fly through, ravines, steep slopes, the lot. It really is a packed environment that is pure joy to explore. I must say on this point, I love the map in the game. It allows you to zoom so close to the ground, and you can even see your character standing there, and the intricate detail of the world around you. It is phenomenally cool. But my main problem with the game lies here, the sports available. Snowboarding hands down takes the cake for me. It's easily the most fleshed out sport, with the most possibilities and fun to be had. Skiing is an alternative, but I feel like it was a complete cop-out giving snowboarding and skiing together when really, bar some very minor details, they had two extremely similar sports. Why a radically different sport wasn't used instead, I don't know. My first guess in the beta was that they might give us more sports in the next game or something, but then I found out about the DLC, and it turns out that they're releasing 5 new sports here, of which they're all very different to the ones we already have. But yeah, we have to pay to access them, and that really rubs me the wrong way when they've given us these very samey sports in the base game. Anyway, on my point of snowboarding and skiing, you can pull a wide variety of tricks in the air and on the ground, and the controls and general movement of the sports really are fantastic. You have a lot of control, and the G-force mechanic, whilst frustrating at times, lends itself superbly to a heightening of the difficulty level. It forces you to think about your landing direction, the stunts you pull, and the lines you choose to take. I just wish the two sports weren't so similar. The other two sports available are wingsuiting and paragliding. Now the issue here isn't that they're too similar, it's just instead that paragliding is, simply put, dull. Wingsuiting is pure adrenaline. It provides gorgeous views of the snow-covered mountains and the rush of darting through tight turns and narrow passages, forcing you lower and lower until you're nearly brushing the ground in order to ramp up your score. It really creates a fantastic adrenaline rush, and it's a superb element to the game. Paragliding, on the other hand, is quite literally the very opposite of just that. It's very slow, very limited, you can't really pull off any stunts or tricks, just ride in the air currents constantly, and in general, it just doesn't lend itself well to fun gameplay. That said, I have had a blast, and will continue to have a blast, with snowboarding and wingsuiting. My complaint is only that the other two sports are dull alternatives, and should have been replaced with better options. The game also allows for walking around on 2 feet. It's a very slow way to traverse the gigantic distances, but can be vital in pulling you out of a tight spot if you absolutely must go up a slope, because no sport at your disposal is going upwards. And walking around, you really get that sense of bliss. The silence of the world, just a gentle breeze and the snow crunching underfoot with the sun shining brightly above. It is quite a gorgeous picture. If you love beautiful worlds, this should be one you experience. Now there are a few other things I must talk about. So the game has general technical issues, like no controller movement speed option to increase how fast the camera can actually be manually moved, the awful menu navigation method, and the terrible implementation of depth of field in the binoculars. But it is generally glitch-free, though as you can see on screen, for some reason I hit a massive technical bug where I went to customize my character and then suddenly was engulfed in a huge blizzard, and the effects of that caused my FPS to plummet to the 20s, and no amount of menu changing could rectify this, only a complete game restart, which was just totally random. But yeah, as I say, generally it's glitch-free. I also love the implementation of both first and third person options as well. They had no need for first person, but I like the fact that they did it anyway. If there was one thing I would look to change about it though, would be the removal of the complete accuracy of having the camera look exactly where the character is looking in the game. It causes the camera to sort of stutter, and just not quite feel smooth enough. And even occasionally the camera would look around randomly at the world whilst you're flying down a slope, and that can be quite a shock when you suddenly have no view of what you're plunging into ahead. Steep also provides a robust ability to not only replay your races, or any route even that you've just taken, and turn it into a challenge for others to play, but it also incorporates a replay feature that has fantastic slow-mo, time of day, and other abilities that allow for truly gorgeous shots of your action. Multiplayer is also nicely integrated into the entire game, with other players visible on runs you're currently attempting or just generally travelling around the world. You just clip into other players, there is no physical contact so they can't throw you off your line, but it's very cool seeing a team of players trying to complete a race and all falling around each other. It can be very funny to watch. Two bugbears with the game, and two things that will never be changed, I just know for a fact, but nonetheless frustrate me. Firstly, the sticking to rock faces. You somehow will lock onto a rock face, unlike snowy ones where you can just fly about. I don't know how to explain what I mean, but yeah, if you go over a rocky face, you won't be able to just get off it, but instead you'll be pulled into it like a magnet the second you touch it. The other bugbear is the lack of stick movement registering after a respawn. So I've frequently already had my left stick pushed forward to get moving immediately on a respawn, but the game refused to listen to it, as apparently you absolutely must have completely respawned before stick movement will register, and it really annoys me after I've restarted for the 50th time on the same run. Anyway, overall, Steep has huge replayability. There is a lot of customization, a huge amount of runs to complete, total freedom to explore the world how you like, a lot of very different races, and with the optional DLC, to those willing to pay and pick it up, a lot of new sports to really flesh out the title. This gets an easy recommendation from me. I genuinely love it, even with its failings in places, and it's a breath of fresh air in many respects and totally worth your time, even if you don't see yourself as much of a sports game player like myself. Anyway, I hope that gives you a better idea of what this game has to offer at 21x9. Give this video a like if you found it helpful, and subscribe for future info. For other games at 21x9, head over to my channel. Hopefully I've covered it. If I haven't, then leave a comment down below and I'll try and cover it. And if you'd like to donate to the channel, the link's to my Patreon page are in the description. See ya later.
Not the time to relax. You need to push on. Keep pushing.
I should have mentioned this before, but Sid is good. So good, in fact, no one's found him yet. Oh!